Hey, happy Monday. Keep leaving suggestions in the suggestions box, aka the comment section. Keep it brief, keep it succinct. Let's see what you guys were cooking this week after we ignore all the things that pop up. Okay, first of the week, hero balance suggestion. Hog Hook should work like Joker Queen Carnage. Increase the cooldown to 10 seconds if you miss. But if you land the hook, the cooldown goes back to 6 seconds or whatever it currently is. So punishing for missing, and then if you do hit it, it's on whatever cooldown it's now. So I guess in theory it's still a net nerf because at worst it's the current cooldown. I don't think it's 6 seconds. I think it's 8 seconds right now. I might be wrong on this. Not a bad idea, but an even better suggestion, ever since playing the new creator card mode, is actually allowing Hog to hook onto walls. But like, if you do connect on a person, you still pull them to you, but like being able to grapple onto the walls is actually such a fun mechanic. But you would probably need to put the hook on like a 12-second cooldown if that were to go live. But this idea isn't bad. It's a way to nerf it and to reward yourself for like landing it, I guess. So honestly, I'm okay with this. Next, remove all the hero passives. They destroy combat legibility and ruin the gameplay. They're stupid, artificial, band-aid workarounds to the 5v5 problem. I'm pretty indifferent on this whole discussion on hero passives. I don't hate them, but I don't love them. I don't actually think it's a bad thing that all tanks have like, you know, CC reduction and like headshot damage reduction. Maybe not so much the headshot one. Like that one hit recently, like, you know, like half a patch ago, like in season 10. But, you know, the whole other passives have been okay. It's tuned to a point where like I don't really notice them, but they're like sort of okay in the long run. I think they were like they needed a lot of fine tuning when they first got introduced in Overwatch 2, but they've iterated a few times. New DPS passive, not the reload stuff. The support passive has been nerfed enough that it's nice if it happens, and the tank one is kind of necessary. So, you know, I don't think we need to remove them, but like if we do remove them, I don't think it changes too much. So like I'm kind of in the middle here, to be honest with you, and I don't think even removing that is like any sort of band-aid fix to the 5v5 problem, if you want to call it a problem. I'm not going to go into that can of worms, but having it not in the game will probably still function pretty much the same, and with it in the game, it is what it is now. Suggestion: we need a hero progression leaderboard. Ooh, amount of hours put in the hero, right? I feel like a top 500 leaderboard for hero levels would be nice to compare and compete against other players who main your hero. I'm a level 60 tracer and I never see other tracer players, so I'd like to... You never see other tracer players. Okay. So I'd like to see how many people are higher than me. It's always fun to see people's high levels on their main heroes. It would be more useful than the hero mastery and hero gauntlet leaderboard that tracks time trails and scores that no one looks at after the 2 days it comes out. I mean, I'm with you. I agree with the suggestion. Maybe not so much like it's more useful than the hero mastery and hero gauntlet, because that's relative to the people competing. It's nice for them to see. So just like you, being able to see, you know, your hero progression on tracer and the amount of medals you've collected. I think there's like certain ones where it's like kill X amount of people with pulse bomb, just to see how many people have like the most pulse bomb kills in the world. I'm actually cool with this. I think this is a great leaderboard to add. If I'm not mistaken, Apex Legend, it's not built into the game, but there's these websites that can track like this person on PlayStation has like 400,000 Bloodhound kills, and that's like rank 1 across, you know, based by region, based by platform, etc., etc. So having a baked-in leaderboard like that, hey, I like that. I'm in. I really like most of the changes in the community mode, specifically Divas, but I want to build onto it by, say it with me now, adding another resource meter. A recharging micro missile with 6 nodes, with each node shooting 2 missiles. As long as you have a node, you can shoot missiles, eat damage, recharge the resource faster based on the damage. While the booster change is a little silly, I still like the idea. Okay, so this is in reference to the new content creator card. If you're unaware, Diva, in that mode, it's like the more projectiles you eat with your matrix, the shorter your micro missile cooldown is, just for context, for those who haven't played it. And then the Diva boosters can go in omni directions. They can go forward, backward, left, right, you know, diagonal or whatever. Another resource meter, like if you're saying like this change for the base game or change for the fun mode, because like the way the fun mode is, it is what it is. So I'm going to assume this is for like the main game and having these changes onto Diva. I don't think Diva like as nice as it is to use your defense ability and absorb stuff and then get rewarded for doing that to get your cooldown shorter, is kind of like you'd have to like nerf the cooldown of micro missile base cooldowns if you want to incentivize, you know, playing defensively and eating stuff. So The only change that I could see without even having to iterate too much going into the live game is the booster change. You said that part's silly, but personally, I think that's the best idea. Giving Diva the ability to fly forward, backwards, and control the directions. It's actually, you might have to nerf the cooldown of boosters like by 1 second or 2, because the strength of that is when you're like flying away, you can just fly backwards while holding matrix versus like turning around and flying to run away and then quickly flicking your matrix back forward, because you can fly while eating bullets. It's like a giga kiting ability. So that part would be a nice quality of life change for Diva. The part with the second resource meter just seems like it's overcomplicating it for no reason. So I'm like half with you, but like that part specifically, which is what you're focusing on, I don't think we need to overcomplicate it. Next, suggestion, add a death recap similar to MOBAs, where after death, you can hit a button and view a log of the last instances of damage or healing you received before dying. It can also show how it was calculated. For example, the base damage times a mercy beam equals damage you took. Either this or have a similar viewable log in the replays. It would just be nice to see a breakdown of what all added up to your death. Yes, I agree with this. Probably just like nothing on your screen right away, but if you press the button, it can pop out. So you have a choice between, you know, hitting tab, hitting, you know, your death recap, rewatching the kill cam to see like the enemy's information, their ultimate chart, or skipping it and like watching how your team is playing it out for more information. So you get a lot of things to do on death. And I feel like this wouldn't even be too bad to quickly glance at what killed you. It may have a bit of, you know, competitive edge, seeing what ability was used, especially if you didn't catch it, like you got killed by something that you didn't even notice and you're like, oh, that person used that ability, and you can call that out to your team because you saw it on the death recap versus you actually noticing it. So it can help you in some ways, but you know, I'm okay with this as long as it doesn't complicate the death screen too much. So yes. Suggestion for the poor mercy mains, what if damage boost, what if instead of damage boost it was an increased fire rate? I don't know if that would be OP or not. The pistol is like you know, the battle mercy is kind of like a bit of a meme, but it's nice in like very niche scenarios. This is not a suggestion for them. This is probably just nerf the mercy players even more if the pistol was an increased fire rate. Kind of like defeats the purpose of the hero. It's just there as a maybe an okay like cleanup tool if they're really low, or like in Valkyrie, there's specific niche scenarios where you can like snipe like a Widowmaker or something because you fly in her face. Other than that, losing the damage boost completely and replacing to that, absolutely no. Not cooking with this one, I'm sorry. Suggestion, right now Lifeweaver's Healing Blossom that has no target to lock on just poofs out of existence, consuming ammo and doing nothing. I think it would be better if it would just shoot out and fly in a straight line as a regular projectile with no lock on. This way you can heal people out of your reach with a well-aimed blossom, or shoot it out at a teammate needing healing and is about to walk in your line of sight. I've heard the suggestion before, but I actually don't like this, and I think the better one would be if you charge your Healing Blossom and there's no target, you are able to switch to your Thorns, but it stores it. So you have a, you know, holding a 70 or 80, whatever the HP charge is, and then when you flip back, it's at least like held, and then you can quickly pop it when someone comes into range later on. I think that would be a little bit better. Could arguably be OP for like a quick burst if you pre-charge an 80 before a team fight and then someone goes and takes damage, then you quickly dump one and then quickly charge a second one and dump another big healing. But what difference is that compared to like, you know, a well-timed like nade into a shot or like an instant nano? So I don't even think that would be an OP change on my suggestion, and I like mine better than yours. You're on the right track with the whole like poofing thing, and I think mine, not gonna lie, it's a little better. So this one, no, but to me. But let me know if you guys think my suggestion cooked even harder than this one. Magga should have the same UI for his ultimate that Ball has when he uses adaptive shields, a small quality of life. So you're saying Magga should have the same UI for when someone's in range to be caged? So like if you see like, so Ball's adaptive shield, if I'm not mistaken, right? It'll have like a number 1, 2, 3, the amount of enemies nearby. So you know how much extra over adaptive shields you get. You're saying if Magga gets that for his ult, I think that is not as necessary because it's kind of like a skill thing to kind of know the range of your ability. And I've always found the one for Ball was a little bit like the same idea. Like I've always thought, as nice as it is to give people more information, that should be part of the skill expression to understand the range of your abilities. There's not very many that kind of give you information like Ball's adaptive shield to tell you how many allies are near you for that stuff. So listen, I would say no for having the same UI, and I would actually suggest to remove that shit for Ball. I know Ball's already a hard hero to play, but like, it just spells it out for you for who's in range. I don't know. I've never liked that, so. Is there any other hero in the game that has a free UI that tells you how many people are in range for an ability? I can't even think of one on the top of my head. Let me know in the comments if I'm obviously overthinking it. Suggestion, make Lifeweaver's life grip breakable by enemies through hitting or damaging, like hitting a damage threshold on the bubble as it travels as a form of counterplay. I'm not opposed to this idea if Lifeweaver's life grip goes on a shorter cooldown to compensate. Because as it currently stands, it's like a one-time escape ability in the middle of a team fight. Because it is relatively long. I think it's 19 seconds right now. So if it is breakable, then life grip has to be on like a 12-second cooldown or something. Because there's a lot more counterplay to it. But then you'll have more uptime of the life grip, and inevitably some grips are going to sneak through because not people aren't focused on shooting it, and it moves pretty fast. So I mean, I think the current one is fine at the cost of its long 19-second cooldown right now. But yeah, this one's like in the middle for me. Again, doable if we compensate in other ways. Suggestion, the push bot should start walking back towards the center of the map while not being contested. Oh, I've actually never thought of it that way. I'm not actually sure how the math would work out with the way like the distance traveled and the amount of team fight breakouts. I would need a lot of simulations to see how this would look in practice. But I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't sound that bad to alleviate the distance. Because right now, as it stands, if you play enough push, some guy made like a push math video like at the beginning of Overwatch 2 where it breaks down and calculates why push feels bad if you're like losing at first, simply because the team that pushes, you know, let's say Coliseum in the middle, they win one team fight and they get it under the bridge. Okay, that's like whatever, 40 meters. Then the other team that's defending comes back, hopefully wins this team fight, but it has to cover up the distance, make up for the distance. And then by the time they go to the second team fight, let's say they win a second one equivalent, they don't even make it as far. They'll make it up to like 20 meters because they had to account for the distance of it making it back to the medium, the middle, the equilibrium. And that gives the respawning team time. So like it's a very snowbally game mode. And maybe this could help alleviate that. But again, I'd need to see some simulations. Maybe some people much smarter than me in the comments could kind of predict a little better how that would look. But to me on paper, not terrible. Have to tweak the running speed. Might be really slow regression back to the center. Kind of like how the payload or an escort slowly regresses backward when no one's on it. You might be cooking with this one to help make it feel less cheesy. So might be the best suggestion I've heard yet. Blizzard needs to have a fun mode where the scoreboard isn't shown until the end of the game. It would be a fun weekend event. I understand people use it to alt track, but low elo isn't really using it for that. I feel like the games would be more fun if the scoreboard was gone. Like an arcade? Nah. Like for a fun weekend event? Nah, I feel like it just annoys people more. The scoreboard's a scoreboard, man. Suggestion, allow us to trade in the old Overwatch currency for the new Overwatch coins, even if it's something like 1,000 to 1. I don't have anything left I can use the old currency on. I mean, I'm not opposed to this. I think I have like 100,000 legacy credits because obviously, I played this game full time as a job for, 6 years before Overwatch 2 came out. So I banked a lot of loot boxes and a lot of credits. The only issue with this is black market accounts that would rise up because there's a lot of like just people who quit Overwatch that have a lot of legacy credits, and being able to convert that into regular Overwatch coins, which actually has monetary value right now because like that's what you have to buy as currency to buy skins. Tough to say. I'd rather them just actually put things available to be purchased with the old currency, legacy credits. Because right now you can go in the hero gallery and buy old stuff with it. So you're saying you have nothing left because you've bought everything. But yeah, I'd rather them just actually give us an option to use legacy credits to buy new stuff. But that's wishful thinking. Blizzard would never do that because that's how they lose money. But come on, maybe do something for the players. Blizzard. To complete the suggestion regarding Junker Queen bleeding, a number of how many targets are bleeding instead of how much bleeding. Then it would be useful to track the health regen correctly. I would even go further by reworking the bleeding, so making it stack on Junker Queen based on the bleeding damage and it refreshing or increasing if cycled correctly. Sort of like a mild berserker playstyle. Okay, so I remember this suggestion from last week and I misunderstood it, so my bad on that. How many targets are bleeding is tough because each of the individual bleeds from Carnage, the Jagged Blade, and the Rampage have different bleed amounts and corresponding healing. So for that, if you're gonna show how many targets, then it needs to be kind of like a unified number across all of the abilities, which isn't possible because they do different damages, but we need to cook a little harder on that. So we could honestly go back to like how much bleed damage is supposed to occur, but then it kind of convolutes the UI screen. But then again, like, we also go back to the idea I had earlier where, like, I never really liked how it showed how many targets ball is in range. Like, learning the range of your ability adaptive shield should be part of skill expression for ball. It's like having Lucio. It's like, how many people are currently in line of sight for you to press beat? And it's like a number that dynamically changes. I don't think we need that. I don't think we need it for ball. And then I didn't like it for the Magga alt suggestion earlier. So I don't feel like Queen needs any extra information on how many targets are bleeding or how much bleeding. You should learn intuitively how many targets you're hitting with your axe and your knife and get a feel for, like, how, you know, berserkery you are. Like, it's not a bad idea, but Overwatch needs to commit to the nothing at all, or like everybody gets a little UI help, to me at least. But maybe I'm jaded, maybe I'm an old head. So for me personally, no, but I can see why a lot of people would say yes. Sorry. Okay, I think that's all the suggestions this week. Thank you for dropping them. Leave some more in the comments. Peace.